these UBDs are in conflict across different parts of the process.
When you say in conflict, you mean they're going to be reused across different processes.
So there's a UBD that also is present in order management and then in another part of the process, but they don't mean the same. So let's say the buyer says, I want X quantity of this good or this particular product. And then the supplier said, maybe doesn't translate it exactly, but it's the same kind of UBC. How can Elimica, the network, recognize that and reconcile that conflict?
It's actually a very good question, because what we spoke about is to just enable communication between trading partners in order to automate a business process. But as you rightfully identified, a business process is not as clean as one would think it should be, because again, it suffers from all the variables that we spoke about earlier. So there are going to be exceptions. There are going to be rules that are needed in order to engage business processes and trading partners. So what we do is we enable all of this through something called configuration. And we power these events with master data. What that allows us to do is it allows us to specify things like, if a buyer calls a product ABC, we can cross-reference it into a supplier's language and call it 1, 2, 3. So every time we get a product ABC from a buyer, we're going to identify that it is a product and that it needs a configuration, and that configuration is related to the master data, and it's going to convert from a buyer's value to a supplier's value. And when it generates the corresponding order outbound to the supplier, it's going to have the right value as required by the supplier. And that is where the beauty of the universal business documents come in. Because at Elimica, when we get a document from a buyer, we convert it to the corresponding UBD. We apply the rules that are needed by the supplier on the UBD and only then transmit what the supplier needs. Earlier, what we would do is this would just be one relationship between the buyer and the supplier. Now we split it into two: buyer and Elimica, Elimica and supplier. So we have two places where we can actually apply meaningful recalibrations that are needed in order to tighten a business process and optimize it.